Okay, this is going to be a quick What You Strappin episode, so welcome. This is the Timex Q quartz GMT, or GMT quartz as it says on the dial, but you get the picture. Haven't had this in a while. Oh, by the way, these are not watch reviews, so just quick wristwatch check. Basically, user extended user experiences, supplemental information regarding watch if I've had a review on it. But anyways, this is back on the wrist. Haven't had this on for I think at least a month. Just been playing around with some other of my watches. I felt compelled to just put this on recently because, well, one, I haven't worn it in a while, and recently Seiko's released like an official Pepsi, SKX5, Seiko 5, sports watches. Both a GMT version as well as a time-only, diver style watch, and they're cool, I guess. But number one, I don't need the branding on the dial. I think it would have been fun just to have left it on the back. Secondly, I'm also not a big. I like the Pepsi colors, but I'm not exactly a Pepsi soda fan. I don't think it tastes quite as good as Coca-Cola myself. So yeah, it's not something that I would actively, kind of sort of promote in a way by wearing one of those. I mean, those colorways are okay. I feel like we've definitely seen something like that before. Maybe not specifically, but similar enough. But yeah, for me, I've been on a search for like the Pepsi style color bezel, pretty much for a while. Went through a number of very Rolex homages in the GMT Master style a few times, and a few other things too. But nothing ever stuck to me, and then I just dawned on me like this Timex Q GMT actually looked pretty good when it was released. Oh gosh, it must have been at least 3 years by now. This is 2025. I'm thinking it's at least 3 years. Is it more than that? Could well be. But I decided to just revisit it. It was a very hype watch, especially when the original Timex Q came out with just the time only, and then this came on, and I think it was kind of a bit hyped up too. But I think with some reason, it's like it's very affordable. Timex has sales all the time, so you can get this. I believe I got this for well under $200. Okay, it's funny that just kicked back on. Anyways, I'm in my car. Sorry, it just took me by surprise that it turned back on. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so there's like a Batman version which is very popular, but I think you can only get that on is it Huckberry? I think it's something like that. There's only place I think you can buy the Batman version, which is probably the next best one. But I always like the Pepsi colors, the red and blue. Myself is just more striking, just that contrast between the red and blue, and I really like the aluminum use of aluminum bezel, much more than ceramic. Just the sheen and the way it pops and reflects light is just much better to my eyes. And this is just a cool watch. I mean, for well under $200, it's with this craze for integrated bracelet watches for some time now. In 25, it's been at least 2 years since start seeing like a lot of brands making their own version of a integrated bracelet watch. This was done a while ago, and this is an original design. Basically it goes back to with the original Timex Q, right, back in the 70s. But then I like the fact that the case is unique. It's angled. It's not, the fact that you can pull off the bracelet and swap it for another strap that has fits 18 millimeters, or maybe if it flares out like this bracelet does. But basically, it's 18 millimeters between the lugs, and that's what we use for the spring bars. Yeah, I guess it's not necessarily a true integrated bracelet watch where it needs to have a whole specialized proprietary system to connect the bracelet to or strap to the watch head case. But I think overall the look is there still, regardless. I mean, it's a hooded look design, so you don't really see like a traditional, um, you know, uh, an open area where you might attach a strap or even a bracelet sometimes. Or if it is a bracelet with a matched end link, you'll have that end link piece. So you don't really, I mean, there is one that's hidden, but you don't really get that for the most part on the surface wise. And the way it widens the bracelet widens to meet the case, it just kind of flows, and I like that. And it's not a bad built watch, it's nothing fancy, but it does the job for me at least. And I like to write the line of something that homages, but not necessarily as such a derivative copy, like one for one. I'm talking about, which I have done before. I tried it, and I think it works for the phase that I was in at that time. But now, I'm kind of shying away from that. And yes, this does have a lot of GMT Master vibes to it, but it just does it in its own way. I say primarily the dial. I mean, just the way the indexes are. That the 9 and the 6 is pointed. That's one thing. The triangle at the top is more evenly shaped all around. It's not elongated. There's a number of things. The way they do the GMT hand is different too. It's not a Mercedes hands. It's a Mercedes. I guess you can call it debadged Mercedes hands, but whatever you want to call that style handset, I think it works in a number of ways. And it's just kind of its own Timex Q thing, and I like that. It's a thin bezel, very slim, and it's always fairly damn accurate because it's quartz, so it's no fuss. It's a great pick up and go. I can't remember the water resistance, but it's been plenty for my use, and gotten it wet plenty of times. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I mean, I think this would be a great travel watch to go other places, and you get the functionality that you need. I don't have to have a traveler's GMT like where you need to quick set the hour hand to the local time, which would be cool, but I don't mind just resetting the the watch itself, normally with a office GMT style of movement, which this is basically. It's using a Swiss movement too. You can see there. I forget what model it is, what caliber, or as a module, we should say, for a quartz, but it is a Ronda, and it works great. And yeah, I just really like the look of it. I just put it back on this bracelet, the stock bracelet, which I actually rather like. It just works with this look, and I did have it on a couple of rubber straps, which were made for like the Casio F91Ws, and I believe that's what they were for. Yeah. And so yeah, if you're looking for other strap options, look for something that fits the Casio F91Ws, for example, and you at least get 18 millimeters, and then they generally will flare out a bit too, to kind of flow with the case, which is, I think, works better if I could do that with the strap. And yeah, I think trying to keep that sort of integrated look is just that flow from the case to the bracelet and or a strap looks better to me. Anyways, those are my thoughts on this watch, having not been on it for a while. I think it looks a bit more premium in person than you might think. I think the index is really nicely popped. It's clean. This thing, at least my example, is really perfectly aligned with the ticking seconds hands. You can see there. Trust me, it hits the marks all the way around pretty perfectly, which was nice. And it's got a signed crown. I think I like the mix of brush finishing, especially on the hooded part of the lugs right here. Could it be even sharper? I suppose, but I'm not complaining about it, where the edges. I mean, there is a slight bevel here too, so that's why this corner might seem like kind of rounded or soft, but you do see that there is a slight bevel, or edge to an extra edge going on between the sides and the top of the case, right? And it kind of meets right here at the corner where the hooded lugs are. And anyways, I think it's a cool watch, and glad to have it back on the wrist. And for again, I feel this is an integrated style bracelet watch. For me, on my 7-inch wrist, let me just back it up a bit. I think that works good. I believe these are 38 millimeters, which is plenty big, because 40, most of the time I feel that it still pushes like the visual weight and size of the watch a bit much for me for an integrated style bracelet watch, because they do tend to wear wider and bigger, and especially if they're particularly flat, which a lot of them try to be, and kind of angled a bit, that can really kind of jut out a bit, or at least on my wrist, on multiple angles when I'm looking at it on my wrist when it's about closer to 40 millimeters. 39 it's still better, but I still feel sometimes it might still could be a little bit smaller. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, this is a great watch to pick up. I mean, it's not that expensive, and I think it hits a lot more if you like this kind of style, that is. Anyways, gotta get my day going, so thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one. Enjoy your watches.